Hi there guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been so long since I've uploaded anything, but it's been a bit manic here in Wales. The place where I work, they've got staff shortages and they upped my hours as a result of that. And a whole load of footage that I recorded about the progress of the camper got corrupted somehow on my memory card, and it's gone. So I lost loads of footage that I wanted to show you guys. What I'm recording right now is the most recent thing I've recorded, and it's going to cut back to something I recorded a few weeks ago, and then throughout this episode it should bring you guys straight back up to date to where I am now. So yeah, thanks for coming back, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. So a little update on the rib. I have glued all of it, and this part is still gluing, so you can see it's come out with a nice curvature. So I started with the middle, now that side is done, and I've just finished this one, which I'm going to leave for another 24 hours, so that will be stuck up there and the curve will be finished, and then I start this one. So the adhesive that I've been using is this. It's called Stix-Like, and apparently it is extremely good, and so far I have not had any problems with it. And this is what is stopping that rib from springing back to its original shape. Right, I've got the piece of wood here. This is the one that's soaking wet, been underwater all night. So I'm just going to go down here and pump the jack, and I'm going to pump it up until it touches the ceiling, and then hopefully it's a hot day today. The roof is getting quite hot. It's still only early morning, so the heat should transmit into the damp wood and help cause the curvature to be permanent. So, I'll give it a go. There we go. So I'm going to leave that bending, and then later on after work I'm going to come and I'll let it down again a little bit, put up a whole load of that Stix-Like, put it back, and then repeat the process on this side and then this side. If I had 3 hydraulic jacks at my disposal, I could actually do all 3 parts that need to be bent at once, but I'm just having to improvise with what I've got. Right, so I've made a little bit of progress in the camper. I've got my laundry hanging up in here today, just drying off, so excuse that. But I will show you what I've been working on recently. So some of you guys might remember my vintage gas oven, which is in full working order, and it's time to start making plans to actually installing this in place. And that's what this structure here is. So it's simply a little table which this will be attached to, and I've ordered some parts for the gas, so the gas lines will run along underneath what is going to be the kitchen units here, and to the gas cylinder which will be at the back. So yeah, coming along. So to get the oven to actually mount to this so it doesn't fly off when it's in transit, I've come up with an idea. So on these bottom mounts we've got holes on either side here and here, and I've cut this piece of wood to length so it will go in like this, and I can screw each side down, and this piece of wood will actually be screwed down to this surface, and there'll be a beam underneath as well so it's nice and strong, and then do something similar for the back corners as well. It can be a bit challenging to actually get things straight because aesthetically things have to be done by eye here, because if I have this up against the wall it feels like it's tilting, and it would be because this wall is actually curved because of the shape of the metal, and the wooden cladding actually bends with the curve, which is nice. So the oven itself, I'm kind of moving it like here, here and here, and it's really difficult to actually know if things are straight or not. So really it's just mostly doing it by eye, and I can't use a spirit level either because I'm actually parked on a hill, so if it works at the end of the day I'm happy. Okay, so this is kind of on, not actually attached, but the piece of wood at the bottom here has been screwed down very thoroughly, so when it comes to putting it on I can screw it in there and there and on the other side, and possibly one on the side if it doesn't foul that one, and then some at the back as well so it's anchored at the back. But I'm not screwing it in yet because I'm going to be running the new pipe work. So this pipe here used to be connected just to a flexi hose, which would be down the side, but I'm going to actually be plumbing this one in with copper pipe all the way, just for safety really. So I'll actually run the pipe from here all the way to the back. So I'll make sure that's done before I actually anchor this in properly, in case I have to pull it out. Right, I've built the framework for what's going to be the sink and food prep area, so let's just see if things kind of fit. I know nothing's straight, but it's very difficult working with walls that aren't straight, but I've got a temporary worktop here, which isn't the one I'm going to be using. I'm hoping to have a nice live wood kind of finish, but just for the time being, hang on, that way. There we go. Just to keep me going. Well, it's certainly starting to look like something now. So it's another very hot day, and things are coming together quite nicely with the sink and the oven all starting to take shape. And I'm going to be doing the bed and water tank, but before I start that I really need to make sure the fridge is in the right position. So I've got the fridge down here, and it's going to be sunk into the overhang at the back, and I need to make sure it's not obscuring the bed or the gas cylinder. Let me show you what I mean about obscuring the gas cylinder. So the gas cylinder here is mounted on the side here, and then the fridge is going here, but the fridge is actually going to be sunk back into this area, so the door is kind of flush with the interior wall there. But when the gas is empty, I'm going to need to make sure I can take it out, so I'm going to have the fridge on some kind of slider so I can move it forward when I need to get the cylinder out, and then slide the fridge back when everything's in use. And also I'm going to have a dividing wall to make a gas locker for the cylinder. One of the troubles when you're working with what is quite a small space, you really have to be quite inventive where everything goes, and things have to move and slide around to make room for other things. So it's all in the planning, you see. Okay, so this is going to take a little bit of imagination. So you got to imagine there's like a wall back here, cladded like all the other bits that I've done so far, and the fridge is sunk back in the wall. So the wall will kind of go like this, and it will surround the fridge, so the only thing you can see from the inside is the actual front of the fridge, the control panel, and the wee door. And that reminds me, I need to make sure the water tank will fit as well. Right, so there's the water tank. So when the bed is in its sofa form, it will come out to there, which means it won't be obscuring the fridge door, and then when it pulls out, it will go shoom. Now, there is one problem which you've probably already spotted. And that problem being, when the bed has been pulled out to be a double bed, you won't actually be able to open the fridge door. But when you're working in quite a small space like this, you do have to make some compromises. Right, this is kind of the start of the bed. I know it doesn't really look like much, so I've got the water tank loosely in place. I know it doesn't look like a straight edge there, but it's actually because this is at an angle, the wheel arch. So this is actually straight, the tank isn't, doesn't matter. And it goes out to the end here, so I'll have kind of, imagine I'm going to have a rectangular end, and then I can start putting the slats in, and hopefully it will start to look like a bed. Hey guys, so I'm going to call it an evening, but I've made some really good progress. So basically I've started the framework and everything, and the water tank is kind of roughly in place. I've pretty much built it around the water tank, and it just so happens that with the wheel arch and the water tank, it's the right width for me to lie on it as a single bed, and then I will construct the double bed put out part at a later stage. But at least I can start using this rather than having to sleep in a tent, because the weather is turning now. The bed is coming along. So, as you can see, some of them are together and some of them are apart. So the ones that over here, let me explain kind of what's happening. These ones are fixed, and the reason they're cut short is because of the little hatch there. If I need to open the hatch, if I pull the bed out to be a double, I'll be able to access that. That won't be something I need to access very often, hopefully anyway. So when it slides out, these ones will just come out. You just pull it out like this, and it'll all have the additional framework. You just got to kind of imagine at the moment. So what I'm doing is, as I'm measuring each one, because it is slightly tapered because of the wall being curved, but this is my kind of loose one. So what I do is, when I've screwed one down, I put this next to it so I can see the distance that it requires, so then I know the sliders will actually fit when it comes to doing that part. So basically, put this one here, think, right, that's pretty much roughly where it needs to go with a nice gap, so I can measure the next one here, screw it down, move this one along, and so on until I get to the end and I finish the single bed, and then at a later stage I should do all the extra sliders to make the double. Right, so I managed to blitz my way through that. It is now a functional single bed. I've got some temporary cushions I'm going to be using just to kind of test it out, because over the next 5 days I've got some friends coming to visit, and I wanted the camper to be kind of in a usable state so I can actually stay in it. And I wanted the sink in, I wanted the oven fully functioning, and I also wanted somewhere to sleep. That wasn't just a mattress chucked on the ground. So great progress, but I'm going to try it out for the very first time. First time lying on my bed, let's see if it breaks. Well, let's also see if I fit. That's the main thing, isn't it? Oi! Haha! Yes! This is excellent news. Haha! Lovely jubbly.